Spider-Man didn't quit. He was trapped. Everyone remembers the moment Spider-Man walked away. But quitting was never the hard part. Living with the consequences was. Peter didn't quit because he was weak. And definitely not because he stopped caring. But because everything cost too much. Every swing through the city meant another missed responsibility. Every fight meant another promise broken. Every life saved meant Peter Parker losing something quietly in the background. And eventually, he reached the point every exhausted person reaches. He asked himself a dangerous question. What if I just stopped? This is the story of the amazing Spider-Man number 50, Spider-Man No More, and why it's still the most honest Spider-Man story ever written. Everyone knows this classic Spider-Man cover. Peter Parker walking away, head down, Spider-Man towering behind him like a shadow that won't let go. That image became iconic because it feels real. No explosions, no villain, just a man who looks defeated. But what people forget is that this moment isn't about quitting heroism. It's about survival. Peter isn't trying to be selfish. He's trying to breathe. Parker's life is fantastic for a while, but sometimes even the strongest superheroes can't outdo life. He starts to realize this. Then everything falls apart. He's failing school. He's missing work. Can't keep a job. He can't support Aunt May and misses out on friendships and close relationships. And the more he tries to fix things, the worse they get. Being Spider-Man isn't just dangerous. It's disruptive. No schedule, no stability, no space to be human. So when Peter quits, it isn't dramatic. There's no speech, no vow. He just leaves the suit behind, like something that hurt him too many times. And for the first time in a long time, Peter chooses himself. And for a time, it works. Peter finally starts living his own life again. Peter gets a job. He shows up on time. He starts living like a normal person again. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Peter is finally happy. Less fear, less pressure, less guilt. But the city doesn't care that he's happy. People get hurt, and Peter starts seeing the consequences of his absence. And this is what hurts the most. Peter didn't quit because he didn't care. He quit because he cared too much. And now the weight he tried to escape comes back heavier. Here's the core idea of Spider-Man No More. Power doesn't disappear when you ignore it. Responsibility doesn't expire. Peter learns that walking away doesn't make him free. It just changes the kind of guilt he lives with. Because now, when something bad happens, he knows he could have stopped it. And that knowledge is worse than fear, exhaustion, and even worse than wearing the mask. This story really starts on a dark, rainy night. In a sequence of panels, we see Peter Parker walking through the city streets, head hung low. The rain mixes with what you can only assume are tears of frustration. He thinks, I was just a young, broke teenager when I first became Spider-Man. But the years have a way of slipping by, of changing the world about us. And every boy, sooner or later, must put away his toys and become a man. In his mind, being Spider-Man was a childish thing he had to outgrow. It was a burden he chose, and now it was a burden he could choose to put down. This leads to that legendary moment. With a quiet sense of finality, Peter drops his red and blue costume into a garbage can. As he walks away, his back to us, the shadow of Spider-Man looms behind him, like a ghost of the life he's leaving behind. It's a powerful, silent declaration. Spider-Man is no more. The next morning, a kid finds the suit and eagerly brings it to the one man in New York who would appreciate it most, J. Jonah Jameson. The publisher is over the moon, running a banner headline that screams, Spider-Man No More, and proudly displaying the costume in his office window. For Jameson, it's the ultimate victory. For Peter, it's the beginning of a new, unburdened life. And for a little while, it actually seems to be working. Peter throws himself into his studies. He has more time for Aunt May, and her health even starts to improve. He's more present for his friends. The constant weight on his shoulders is finally gone. He feels normal. He can walk down the street without the city's problems being his. He hears a news report about a robbery and tells himself, "That's a job for the police now." For the first time in years, Peter Parker is free. But a power vacuum never lasts long in New York City. While Peter's enjoying his freedom, a new force is rising in the criminal underworld. A figure of immense size and ambition sees the hero's absence as a golden opportunity. This is the first appearance of Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. With Spider-Man off the board, Kingpin begins to unite the city's mobs under his singular, ruthless control, setting the stage for a new era of organized crime. The city, whether it knows it or not, is more vulnerable than ever. The crime rate in the city starts to skyrocket as a direct result of Kingpin's moves. Peter hears the news. He sees the fear on people's faces, but he tries to ignore it. This isn't his problem anymore. He made his choice. He chose to be Peter Parker. But heroism isn't a switch you can just flip off. The turning point comes one night when Peter is walking home. He sees an elderly night watchman being cornered in an alley by a group of thugs. The watchman is outmatched, and nobody is coming to help. Something inside Peter just clicks. He can't stand by and do nothing. He jumps in, using his powers to quickly and anonymously take down the criminals, saving the old man. As he helps the watchman to his feet, Peter is struck by this powerful sense of déjà vu. The old man's kind, tired face reminds him of someone else. It reminds him of his Uncle Ben. And in that instant, the memory of that horrible night comes flooding back. The night he let a robber get away because he was too selfish to be bothered. The night his own inaction led to the death of the man who raised him. It all comes rushing back. The guilt, the grief, and the promise he made. He's slammed with the inescapable truth that he can't ever really quit. He has to live with the burden of being Spider-Man, because if he just stands on the sidelines, someone else will pay the price for his selfishness. He realizes that with great power comes great responsibility isn't just a catchy motto. It's a life sentence, a burden he has to carry, no matter how heavy it gets. His decision is made. He heads to the Daily Bugle. He sees his costume, his identity hanging like a trophy in Jameson's window. The comic doesn't show us how he gets it back, but we all know what happens next. The hero is reborn, not out of a thirst for adventure, but out of a deep, profound understanding of duty. He is Spider-Man, not because he wants to be, but because he has to be. Peter doesn't return to being Spider-Man because the city begs him. He comes back because he understands something brutal. He doesn't get to choose a life without consequences. He only gets to choose which consequences he can live with. Being Spider-Man hurts, but not being Spider-Man hurts even more. So he picks up the suit again, not because he wants to, but because he knows what happens if he doesn't. Spider-Man No More works because it doesn't glorify sacrifice. It questions it. It asks something no superhero story usually asks. How much are we allowed to give before we're allowed to stop? Peter Parker doesn't quit because he's weak. He quits because he's still human. And when he comes back, it's not a victory, it's acceptance. Acceptance that responsibility, once earned, never truly lets you go. Spider-Man tried to quit, and the world didn't collapse. But Peter Parker did, because being Spider-Man isn't about strength. It's about knowing the cost and choosing to pay it anyway. Not because you're a hero, but because you can't live with yourself if you don't. So the question is, if walking away hurts and staying destroys you, what choice is Spider-Man actually making? Make sure to comment your thoughts below. I would like to know your take on Spider-Man walking away. Is he wrong for choosing his own happiness, or having this responsibility just makes you stronger? Thanks for watching. Until next time.